When James Gunn was officially announced as the co-chairman and co-CEO of DC Studios alongside Peter Safran in late 2022, fans of the DC universe breathed a collective sigh of relief. After years of inconsistent storytelling, conflicting visions, and a cinematic universe that often felt like it was chasing its Marvel counterpart, Gunn's appointment seemed like the promise of a much-needed reset. But nearly 2 years later, as we inch closer to the debut of Gunn's reimagined DCU, I'm beginning to worry that one major problem still looms large: a lack of clarity and unified direction. To be clear, I'm not doubting Gunn's talent or passion. His work on The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker has been widely praised, and his Marvel films, especially Guardians of the Galaxy, show he understands how to blend heart, humor, and heroism. But being the creative architect of an entire cinematic universe is a different beast. And it's not yet clear that Gunn's DC is managing to cleanly break away from the confusion and fragmentation that plagued the old regime. The leftovers problem. One of the biggest sources of confusion is the handling of legacy characters and actors. While The Flash, Black Adam, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom underperformed or landed with a thud, the new DC universe hasn't fully closed the door on the old one. For example, Viola Davis is still playing Amanda Waller, John Cena is continuing as Peacemaker, and there are rumors Gal Gadot could return as Wonder Woman in some form. This blending of old and new without a clear explanation to fans about what's canon and what isn't sends mixed signals. Is this a reboot, a soft reboot, or a multiverse-style blending of continuities? Gunn has said that Superman 2025 will be the official start of the new DCU, but that hasn't stopped several characters and projects from overlapping timelines or carrying over from the Snyder era. For a reboot, it doesn't feel very clean, and that's a recipe for audience confusion. The communication gap. Another issue is the lack of consistent, transparent communication. While Marvel has been, sometimes excessively, open about its roadmaps, phases, and timelines, DC's approach under Gunn has been more cryptic. Yes, we've seen an initial slate, Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, with projects like Superman, The Authority, Lanterns, and The Brave and the Bold. But beyond Superman, most of these titles still don't have firm dates, casts, or much tangible information. That silence creates an information vacuum, and in the digital age, that vacuum gets filled with fan speculation, rumor, and misinformation. It's hard to generate excitement for a cinematic universe when fans don't know when the next domino will fall. So far, Gunn's DCU feels more like a collection of promises than a living, breathing narrative ecosystem. The risk of overdependence on Superman. Gunn has made it clear that Superman will be the keystone of the new DCU, and that's understandable. The character is iconic and has been mishandled in recent years. But placing so much weight on one film is risky. If Superman underperforms critically or commercially, it could cripple momentum for everything that follows. The DCU is supposed to be an interconnected web of stories, so hanging the success of that entire web on one character, no matter how beloved, feels short-sighted. It also raises another question: what happens if audiences don't respond well to David Corenswet's portrayal, or if the tone of Superman feels too disconnected from the rest of the slate? We've seen how a shaky start can rattle confidence. Man of Steel had this same burden in 2013, and the results were divisive. A cinematic universe needs to stand on multiple legs, not just one. The delayed payoff. Finally, one of the most frustrating elements for fans is the sheer waiting game. By the time Superman hits theaters in 2025, it will have been over 3 years since Gunn and Safran took over. While patience is important for building a solid foundation in an era where audiences are used to rapid-fire releases and streaming content every few months, this slow rollout risks bleeding fan interest. DC had momentum with The Batman 2022 and Joker 2019, but those aren't even part of the new continuity. Instead, fans are being asked to invest in a universe that doesn't tangibly exist yet. It doesn't help that in the meantime, superhero fatigue is a real concern. Marvel is struggling with its own identity crisis post-Endgame, and many fans are burned out by the sheer volume of content. DC had a golden opportunity to seize this moment with a bold, clean, confident new vision, but right now, the DCU feels more like a collection of hypotheticals than a universe in motion.